Well, 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 if it isn't me doing things that make me freebie, I am a freebie. Hey, how you doing? It's me, your lovely cat, here with our lovely lady, Sophia. Look at her, isn't she cool and, like, full of brightness? And look, she can wave. Exactals. Anyway, today I was going to talk to you guys a little bit about ideas such as apologizing. Mostly about apologizing, actually. I've made videos about forgiveness and, like, trying to apologize before, but I think it's a good subject to come back to occasionally. And especially for spiritual matters. Like, you know, in spiritual matters, it's not just about forgiveness. Sometimes it's also about, like, facing your mistakes and trying to, excuse me, gentlemen. I'm going this way. You go that away. But sometimes it's about also facing your own mistakes and stuff like that so that you can get past them. So, just to give a little bit of backstory for why I was thinking about this, um, recently in a Discord call, I was getting rather upset with someone in that call. I won't go into the exact reasons for it. It was stupid. It was stupid, silly head type things. But they were doing something that I was perceiving them to do something that was rather bothering me. Some people would disagree about whether or not they were doing it. Whatever. It was a whole thing. Anyway, I got rather mad at them and I kind of accused them of doing some things. And I was like, I think you're doing this. Being deliberately obtuse is probably the um, nicest way I could put what I thought they were doing. Anyway, I thought they were being deliberately obtuse and I got upset with them. I kind of yelled at them. Well, not really like yelled because it's like on a Discord call. You can't really get that loud. But anyway, I was being kind of rude and kind of a dickhead. Afterwards, I kind of left the call. And it was like, okay, you guys, like, since you're a fine time, you don't think anything's wrong, I'm just gonna leave. And that's kind of what I did. And then I thought about it for a little bit. I came back and I apologized to everyone in the call, and then I left again because, quite frankly, I was not really upset anymore. But I was just like, I still don't really want to be in that call with those people. Like, I had to apologize for doing something that was wrong. And, we all have our moments. None of us are perfect. Ooh, isn't this pretty? None of us are perfect, and sometimes people will do things that frustrate you. And like, even with a decent amount of meditation and prayer and stuff, sometimes things are still just gonna get to you, and they're still just gonna kind of upset you and make you just, you know, have a hard time. And sometimes we're better at dealing with it than others. Sometimes there's all kinds of little things that are going on in the background, etc. But if you do mess up and if you do get mad at people and if you do say things that you probably shouldn't have said, and I will say this too, because we all make this excuse of like, well, if it was true, then I shouldn't apologize. Well, no, sometimes even if you say something that is true, you should still apologize afterwards, and that's generally better. It relieves you afterwards to have apologized and just to move on from things. I personally think that even times when like conflict feels like it's warranted or things like that, sometimes we have to be careful and kind of go, well, what are we actually like getting angry over? Some things are maybe worth getting angry over, some things are not worth getting angry over, and sometimes simply apologizing and moving on is the best way to do it. It can also be a good time to reflect. Like, for instance, in my case, after I got angry and after I apologized and everything, I kind of sat there and thought about, like, well, why did I get angry? Why was I upset with this person? And I, came to some conclusions that I think helped me out quite a bit and will help me in the future. And, the thing is, God doesn't expect us to be, perfect, you silly Billy Banana Nana Philly. We're all allowed to make some mistakes, and, we're not all perfect Gyanis or perfect Bhaktas, or we're not all perfect Christians or Jews or Muslims or Hindus or whatever. We're not all perfect. So sometimes you're going to mess up. It's important, though, when you mess up to realize that you've messed up and to try and learn from it and to apologize if you think you've hurt anyone's feelings, or even if once again you think you were in the right, and sometimes we will think that even when we're dead wrong. uh, oh, hey, you're supposed to die with a jab. You're making me do two jabs, sir. There, you get a big jab. Well, they melt. That's interesting. I didn't know they melted into little piles. Ooh, pile of goo, man. Ooh. Wait, why did that... Oh, maybe because I hit him in the head, kinda? But yeah, sometimes, even if you still think you're in the right, you should still apologize and still attempt to move on. That's kind of a thing that we can get into the habit of doing, is that, you know, we all have moments where we feel like we're doing the right thing, but people aren't treating us in the way that we think we deserve to be treated, or, you know, like we think we notice something that other people just aren't, or whatever. We all have these little moments. But the important thing is to not cling on to these moments, and to not like get attached to your anger, and to not like think that just because you feel a certain amount of anger that that means that it's the right thing to feel, or that you should feel it, or that you well, not should feel it isn't actually the right way to phrase it, I guess, but that you should cling on to that emotion and get too attached to it. I think, you know, we all have this tendency sometimes, I think, to think just because we feel something that it's that means that it's right, or that it's okay, I gotta stop rolling like directly back when I deal with that guy. You know, so sometimes that sounded a lot like the Doom sound effect for an explosion. But you know, we all have these moments, and it's important for us to let go of our negative emotions and to not, like, you know, feed into them, because that's another problem, is like if you don't apologize and move on, then sometimes you'll end up sitting there and you'll just dwell on it and dwell on it and dwell on it until it gets worse and worse and worse. And the next thing you know, you have this horrible grudge in your system, and that's just not good for anybody. So I think it's important for us to remember that we're trying to cultivate, you know, an attitude of peace, an attitude of closeness towards God, and we're trying to cultivate an attitude of love in as many cases as we possibly can. And yes, even though there are people who are difficult to love out there, we should also remember that, you know, for everyone you have to put up with, people are putting up with you. It's not like you're, you know, perfect and have no issues and, you know, never do anything that annoys other people. But, you know, sometimes people, I feel like there was a secret wall here somewhere maybe, but I think I could just be wrong. Yeah, I think I might just be wrong. I think how you get up to on top of that statue. I know there's a way, but maybe you have to go further in and then... Oh yeah, I think you do actually have to go further in and then come back. But now I'm going to jump up here just because... You know, but you got to remember that for all of the things that are going on... Oh wait, no, there is a way over here. For all the things that go on that you have to put up with, people have to put up with you as well, and that you're not perfect, and that there's certainly ways you probably get onto other people's nerves and things like that, and that doesn't mean that you should therefore only think of like yourself when you're thinking about like things that are... Ow. That was rude, sir. This is very pretty for being deadly and explodey. I already have a bunch of throwing daggers. But yes, I think it's important to remember that. Remember that people are putting up with you as well, and that we're all in this together as a community, and that sometimes, even though there are people out there that really get on our nerves, that doesn't mean you shouldn't apologize to them, and that you shouldn't try not to hurt their feelings and things like that. And yeah, don't worry, if you do have a moment where, you know, something really got to you and you said some things that you shouldn't have said, that doesn't mean that it's the end of the world, and it doesn't mean that you can't apologize and come back. And I think I think that is important to... Dang it. Gotcha! Ha ha ha! Oracle Pebble. Oh, bubbles. So yeah, just remember that, and remember that you should always be trying to move forward and do the right thing, and don't be, stubborn and like holding on to your side. Sometimes, yes, you should hold on to what you believe and all that, but sometimes realize that if you're in a conversation where it's just not going anywhere, or you're like distracting other people and things like that, sometimes you should evaluate how important it is for you to have your piece said. So remember, apologize and be conscious of conversations. Remember, part of right speech is not saying um, divisive or derisive speech without good reason. Okay? Okay. I think that'll be all I'm going to say on that for today. And I just wanted to share that message with you guys. I hope it helps you out, and hopefully you can use that advice. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye bye. God bless.